Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are pulling apart a topic that, well, I think most of us think we understand, but we're really only seeing the glossy marketing version of
Like
it.
the shiny version.
Yeah, we're talking about artificial intelligence.
Right. Robots are here to help you do your laundry for
Exactly. But the sources you've brought today, they paint a very, very different picture. The core idea seems to be this huge misconception we have that technology is neutral.
hmm
We look at a computer and we think, it's just math, it can't have an opinion, but that might be, well, the most dangerous assumption we can make.
It is, because when you get past all the branding, AI is really just a reflection of us, of the data we feed it. The source material uses this great metaphor right away, the AI bias iceberg.
I really liked that visual, because when we worry about AI, we're usually just worried about the tip of that iceberg.
The visible stuff.
The weird hands in AI art or, the obviously fake news articles.
The explicit things, yeah. But the massive part, the part that's submerged that can actually sink the ship, that's the systemic bias.
We're talking about algorithms that decide who gets a job.
Who gets a loan, who gets medical treatment. And unlike a person who might tell you why they rejected you, the algorithm is often just a black box.
Okay, so that's the plan for today. We're going to dive in and go below the surface. We need to unpack why these systems fail so spectacularly, like that Amazon hiring tool that, well, accidentally became a misogynist.
Yeah, that story's a classic.
And we have to talk about the Arab heist. It's a $25 million scam that honestly reads like a movie script.
It's absolutely terrifying. I still can't quite get my head around it.
But, and this is important, we also have to look at the flip side. Because the same tech that can steal your voice is also revolutionizing how we learn. So it's not all doom and gloom.
No, it's just complicated. It's a tool of extremes.
Let's start with that Amazon story. For me, this was the real light bulb moment for how dumb smart tech can be.
It's the classic cautionary tale. So a few years back, Amazon wanted to automate their recruitment process.
Which makes sense. They get thousands of resumes.
Right, and humans are slow, we get tired, maybe we haven't had our coffee. So they thought, let's build an AI to find the top talent for us. Remove the human bias.
On paper, that sounds great. A total meritocracy. A machine just wants the best skills.
Theoretically. So they trained this AI on about 10 years of resumes that had been submitted to Amazon. They just fed it their own hiring history.
Okay. And you think about the tech industry over the last decade. Who was submitting those resumes?
Mostly men.
Right.
Overwhelmingly men. So the AI looks at all this data and it finds a correlation. It realizes, okay, the vast majority of people who got hired, they're male. So its logic becomes male equals good candidate.
But here's the part that blew my mind in the reading. It wasn't just looking for a name like John. It started looking for linguistic patterns.
Exactly. That's the insidious part. It wasn't just checking a gender box. It started penalizing resumes that included the word women's.
You're kidding. So like captain of the women's chess club.
You lose points. It even downgraded graduates from 2 specific all-women's colleges.
That is wild. It effectively taught itself to be sexist just by looking at the history of who got hired.
And that's the core concept of garbage in, garbage out. The AI isn't predicting the future. It's just codifying the past. It looked at a biased history and decided that was the rule book.
So Amazon caught this one and scrapped the tool.
They did. But it proves that if your data has bias in it, and almost all historical data does, your AI will just amplify it.
Which brings us to the bigger problem. What happens when we don't catch it? The sources call this the black box problem. Can you break that down?
It is a bit ominous. In traditional programming, if a program makes a mistake, a coder can look at the code. They can say, there's a typo on line 40.
It's transparent.
Exactly. With deep learning AI, the system teaches itself. So we see the input say, your loan application, and we see the output denied.
But the middle part.
The middle is a web of millions of connections, a process that even the developers can't fully trace. They don't know which specific factors led to that decision. It's opaque.
That is unsettling. So if I go to the bank and ask, why was I denied? My credit score is great. They might not be able to tell me.
They might literally be unable to. They can just say, the algorithm gave you a 4 out of 10. Maybe it was your zip code. Maybe it was that you buy groceries at a certain store. It just erodes accountability.
And the sources point out this is happening in healthcare too, which is much higher stakes.
Well, AI is actually incredible at spotting tumors in x-rays. It spots things human eyes can miss.
Okay.
But if it flags a shadow on a lung, a doctor needs to know why. Is it looking at tissue density? And this has actually happened, is it just looking at a smudge on the lens of that specific X-ray machine?
Or it noticed that all the sick patients were scanned on a machine that leaves a little watermark.
Precisely. If you can't see the reasoning, you can't fully trust the diagnosis.
It's what the notes called the veneer of objectivity. We trust it because it looks like science, but it might just be finding a meaningless correlation.
And that veneer is what scammers are now exploiting. Which brings us to information disorder.
Right. This is the stuff that keeps me up at night. We need to separate two things here: fake news and deepfakes.
Fake news is old school, really. False info dressed up to look like a real news article. But deepfakes, that's the new frontier. Using AI to synthesize, to create audio and video.
And we're not just talking about a bad Photoshop job anymore.
No, this is pixel generation. The AI studies your face, your micro-expressions. It learns how your lips move, and then it generates entirely new footage of you saying things you never said.
The stakes have moved way beyond funny videos. The Erupt story and the research, I had to read that twice.
The $25 million video call is probably the biggest AI-driven heist we've seen so far.
So walk us through this, because the victim here wasn't careless.
Not at all. Arab is a massive global firm. A finance worker in their Hong Kong branch gets a message, supposedly from the company's CFO, requesting a huge secret transaction.
Which is a classic phishing scam, a big red flag.
Exactly. And the worker was suspicious. So they did what security training tells you to do. They said, I need to verify this. And they asked for a video call.
Smart move. You see the person, you know it's real.
Usually. So the worker joins the video call, and there's the CFO. And not just him. There are other colleagues on the call that the worker knows. They're all talking, nodding. The CFO explains why the transfer is so urgent. The worker, seeing everyone there, feels reassured and transfers $25.6 million.
Let me guess, none of them were real.
Only the victim was real. Everyone else on that call was a deepfake.
No way.
The scammers had used public footage of these executives to generate real-time...
So they were puppets, like digital puppets.
Exactly. Digital puppets. It is the ultimate social engineering. It breaks the seeing is believing rule we've relied on forever.
And that's a huge corporate target, but this tech is trickling down, right? The grandmother scam.
Yeah, the consumer version.
Ah.
They take just a few seconds of your audio, maybe from a video you posted online. They clone your voice, and then they call your grandma.
Oh, no.
He picks up and she hears you, not a robot, your voice, crying, saying, Grandma, I'm in trouble. I need you to wire money right now.
It just bypasses all logic and hits pure emotion.
It does.
So how do you fight that? The sources gave some tips, but after the Erupt story, I mean, do they even work?
They help, but it's an arms race. For video, you look for glitches, weird blinking, shadows that don't match the lighting. For audio, it's harder. The best defense is actually low-tech.
What's that?
A safe word. You set up a code word with your family. If your daughter calls from a weird number asking for money, you just ask, what's the code word? The AI won't know it.
That is actually really good advice. Simple.
Yeah.
Unhackable.
Sometimes the best solution to a high-tech problem is a low-tech one.
Now, there's another group of people who are really angry about this cloning ability. The artists.
Yes. The copyright wars.
This is where the philosophy of what is creativity just crashes right into what is theft. The core question seems to be, is AI learning like a student, or is it just scraping like a thief?
That's the trillion-dollar question. You have lawsuits from artists like Sarah Anderson and huge ones like the New York Times versus OpenAI.
Right.
The Times is arguing that these models were trained on their journalism, they paid to send reporters to war zones, and the AI just vacuumed it all up. If it can recite a paywalled article word for word, that's not learning.
It's a Xerox machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the AI companies use the Van Gogh defense.
This argument was fascinating.
It is. They say, look, if a human art student studies Starry Night and then goes home and paints in that style, we call it inspiration.
We call it art history.
Right. So why is it different if a machine does it?
I guess the difference is the scale. A human can't study every painting ever made in 3 seconds and then pump out 1,000 copies an hour.
That's it. It's the industrialization of inspiration. Our current copyright laws just weren't built for this. It's a legal gray zone.
So we've covered the scary stuff: bias, deepfakes, theft. I feel like I should throw my laptop in the ocean. But the sources then pivot pretty hard to the benefits, specifically in education.
Yes. And this is so important because the same personalization that makes a deepfake so convincing is what makes AI an incredible tutor.
The story of Willow in the text, Was Willow a real student?
Willow is a persona, but she represents a very real type of student, a kid who is failing algebra, hates it, but she loves art and basketball.
And a teacher with 30 kids in a class can't just stop to explain algebra using basketball metaphors for her.
It's impossible, but an AI can, instantly.
Hmm.
Tools like Comigo, they don't just give the answer, they act like a tutor. They see Willow is stuck, and they say, okay, Willow, think about the arc of a three-pointer, that shape, that's a parabola.
That's the aha moment.
It breaks the problem down. It adjusts to her speed. It's a tutor that is infinitely patient.
That's the dream, right? A one-to-one tutor for every kid on Earth.
It's a massive equity leveler. The data in our source said that 7 out of 10 kids in low and middle income countries can't read by age 10. That's a crisis.
And we can't train enough human teachers to fix that.
Not fast enough. But if those kids have a smartphone, suddenly they have an expert tutor in their pocket.
It's interesting. It feels like the black box is bad for banking. You need to know why you were rejected, but maybe it's okay for teaching.
Well, there's a caveat. You do need to make sure the AI isn't teaching the kid that 2 plus 2 equals 5. Which brings us to the final piece, professional research.
Right, because if you're using AI for your job, you can't afford for it to just make things up.
The hallucination problem.
Yeah,
General chatbots are like that friend who knows a little about everything, but will just invent facts to sound smart.
so you can't rely on them for, say, a business report.
No, you need specialized tools. If you're doing academic work, the sources highlight Semantic Scholar.
How's that different from just using ChatGPT?
It's an AI search engine, but it only looks at scientific and academic papers. Over 200 million of them. It summarizes actual papers and gives you real citations. It won't invent a study. It links you to the PDF.
So no black box, you can see the source.
Exactly. And for business, there's a tool called PowerDrill. It's designed to analyze your own data. You upload your spreadsheets, your customer reviews, and you can chat with them.
So you can ask, why are customers in Ohio returning this product? And it'll show you the actual reviews.
It's grounded in your reality, not the whole internet's. And the last one was consensus, which is great for settling debates. It just tells you what the scientific consensus is on a topic.
So the takeaway seems to be, stop treating AI as one big thing. It's a set of different tools for different knobs.
That's it. Don't use a paintbrush to build a house.
We've covered a lot, from the garbage in, garbage out problem to the Arab heist to this personalized tutor that could, change global literacy. How do we hold these two opposing ideas in our heads?
I think it comes back to that iceberg. AI isn't neutral. It's a magnifier. It magnifies our biases, it magnifies deception, but it also magnifies our ability to learn and to solve problems.
It's a mirror.
A very powerful mirror. It just reflects us back to ourselves, the good and the bad.
I want to leave everyone with a quote from the reading by the AI researcher Timnit Gebru. She said, "Technology should serve us all, not just the privileged few."
That's the North Star. Whether we're talking about hiring algorithms or education apps, we have to keep demanding transparency.
So the next time you see a perfect image or a news story that confirms everything you already believe, just take a beat. Ask yourself, what data is hiding beneath the surface?
And check for the extra fingers.
Always check the fingers. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.